Okay, it appears we're live. Just setting up now, and if you're watching this back later, I think it's just you and me at the moment. A little bit of special time we can have together. And I've decided for a laugh. I should have turned that audio off. I will just do that because it's too confusing. I don't know what that sounds like. It's way too confusing for me. So yes, I decided after discussions in recent days. I want to, once there's a few people here, debunk anyone's complaints about The Last Jedi. Hey, Game of Frost, how's it going, buddy? Good to see you. I should change my angle because I've got a guest host. Move a couple things. There we go. And I'll move over here a little. There you go. Guest host. Everyone wants to see Mimsy. Hey, Tara, how's it going? So yes, I'm thinking just sort of ease in with our usual sort of conversation and go all over the shop like we usually do. And then I want to entertain anyone's problems with The Last Jedi and explain why you're wrong, which of course I'm at least mildly joking because personal taste is personal taste. But a lot of things I've seen of people talking about plot holes and whatnot, I think is actually quite easily explained. And so I'm going to have a go at explaining anyone's problems with The Last Jedi, why they're wrong. So, Game Frost, I'm not going to get into detail yet. I'm going to wait for a few more people. But the phrase that not as accurate as other movies is a slightly funny choice of words to me, in as much as it's a fantasy about magic space wizards with laser swords, and a hero with a sidekick who's a giant dog, and robots everywhere. So at the very least, I think some people, more than a few people, get far too worked up about something that's really not a particularly intellectual venture. I just find some people are really sad in their inability to just enjoy something, to not overly obsess about things. I mean, I'm into critiquing things myself, but when I see people getting really obsessive and really angry about things that are meant to be light entertainment, I kind of worry about those people. Hey, Ms. Foxification, how are you this fine evening? Speaking of fine evening, it's not really fine. It's super weird here in Melbourne, the weather. So what's that, Tara? Your wound from your cancer surgery is infected, not getting better. Ew, on antibiotics. Ew, that's gross. I mean, yeah, if surgery doesn't heal well, that's nasty. I'm fine, thanks, Miss Foxification. I'll go in for us. You like history movies and series? That'd be interesting. Are you like me? Let's go on this tangent for a while with historical films and TV shows. These are even recent history, like biopics, as they like to call movies that are supposedly telling someone's life story. Are you like me? Do you ever, like, when you watch something, go, how close to reality was that? Jump on the old Googles and find out, did that really happen? And you find out the vast majority of historical dramas and entertainments are way, way removed from actual reality, the things that actually happen. Hello, Celtic King and Shellformer. Nice to see you. Speaking of Celtic King, you've been asking, did I have any mail? Yes, I went and checked mail on the weekend, and I do have an absurd amount of mail here to go through, all from the same person. I don't know why, but I had this feeling that maybe I should be opening these gloves. I don't know what's in them. This is really quite freaky that someone sent this many little letters instead of one big one. But anyway. Yeah, Game of Thrones, like, yeah, recently, like, there's been a couple Winston Churchill films come out in the last year. Well, 3 if you count the Dunkirk movie, because Churchill's the PM in that. And then there was 2 that are specifically about Churchill, Darkest Hour, and what was the other one called? I saw all of them, and they all had very different versions of Churchill. And one of them in particular was widely regarded as being almost completely untrue. How many letters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There's 19 or 20 there. I realised I hadn't counted them before there. Watching from bed, it's all about comfort. Mimsy's all about comfort. But also, I've just started watching The Crown on Netflix, about the early days of Queen Elizabeth II's reign. And while a lot of big picture events in that appear to be true, I mean, that's obviously because there's a lot of behind closed doors conversations. They're obviously completely invented because no one knows what little Betty Windsor and Phil the Greek said behind closed doors. So that's obviously completely invented. But big things about Churchill and how he behaved in certain ways. I won't spoil Dunkirk for you, Game Frost. Well, it is historical, so history potentially spoils it for you. But no, Dunkirk, no spoilers. It's a really well-made film, and there are some very interesting artistic choices made in it, as in the way the story's told. Yeah, I won't spoil anything because lots happens. It's like big and little stories in the whole thing. It is an interesting movie to watch. Hey, Tendai, how's it going? So, yes, Celtic King, it's a lot of letters. And none of them are particularly bulky. So I don't know what, if anything, is in the envelopes. No return address on the outside of them. They're all obviously from the same person. You got the same handwriting and they're addressed the same way. So, yeah. Oh, Gamer, Fresh, we looked at the crown jewels in England, Ireland, and Scotland. Well, I mean, obviously, man, they'd be a big target, wouldn't they? The crown jewels. I don't think I've actually seen England crown jewels. I did go to Edinburgh Castle. You can see the crown jewels of Scotland in there. And his next question, love letters from VD. I don't think he's allowed to write letters in jail. This many stamps. No, someone else has been sending these for a while. Not completely sure who. I might open them soon. That'll be fun. Be a sort of build up thing. Trying to think what other historical things I've seen recently. All these Winston Churchill related films. The Crown. Pet the cat. Okay. I'm going to disturb you, Mimsy. People, meow. She actually likes it. She likes getting the cheek and the underside there. She likes that. Look, don't you, Mimsy? Yes. Yes. Hey, smiley nerd. Yeah, you know what I was surprised by? That drama series, Vikings, how much of that was based on what we know of history. Really surprised me. Like, was it in series 3 or something? Maybe series 4. The Vikings sacked Paris, and I thought, really? I'd never heard that. Did the Vikings really sack Paris? I'm straight on Google going, did the Vikings really sack Paris? And yes, they did. And they were led by a Viking king, Ragnar Lothbrok. I had no idea that that Viking series was using so much of what we know of history. Tara, I know prisoners can send mail, but stamps are $1 each now. That would be really wasting your limited resources in prison if you sent 20 letters like this. Misfoxification. I don't think VD's allowed to have anything as sharp as a pencil or pen in jail. I think he's being such a tool in jail. He's regarded as a threat to himself and others. So yes. And as the phone calls, where I went to college, Bathurst, in the west of New South Wales, west of Sydney, there was a jail. There's a jail in Bathurst, as well as it was a college when I was there. It's part of Charles Sturt University now. And yes, prisoners are allowed a certain number of phone calls. But a lot of them had no one to call. There's no family who wanted to talk to them. And I worked at the college radio station, and it was a semi-regular occurrence. We would get a call while we were on air, and it would be someone on the prison who said, "Hey, I'm listening in prison, and they let me make a phone call. So can you play some Hunters and Collectors for Jono in H Block?" And we would. And I would occasionally visit guys on the inside as well. And I did a theatre degree. We actually performed one of our plays, the Commedia dell'arte piece, Renaissance Italian play called The Imaginary Invalid. And geez, that was a hoot, performing in front of prisoners, I'd say. Ross might be Bering writing to me. I don't know, man. Bering's so obsessed with me. I think if they were from him, I'd see jizz stains on the envelope. Speaking of my desire to maybe open these with gloves. Celtic King. Yeah, I don't know. VD's self-harming. That's not that surprising because he's clearly an extremely troubled young man. B, really depressing. It's a real thing. Yeah, Tara, the prisoners did have to know a phone number to call, and it wasn't that hard to find the phone. Well, we would say the phone number for the radio station all the time, like, "Hey, if you want to request the song, give us a call." I don't even. Wow, I said it so many times. I thought for a second I might have remembered it, but I don't. Yeah, so yes, I have been on the inside of prison. That's a funny thing. Often when people talk about prisons, they're a holiday camp. Blah, blah, blah. It really winds me up that people speaking from profound ignorance about what it's like in prisons. Even if a prison has, what you regard as comforts, which honestly a lot of them don't, and it's often overstated. But even a prison that has some comforts in it, you are still getting locked up every night. And a lot of people underestimate the impact of that. Now, even just being inside a jail as a visitor can be really oppressive. I remember particularly when we were doing the performance, we were waiting outside the sort of lecture hall where we were going to do this performance, and most of the people in the group had never been inside prison walls before and were a bit agitated, but we were just warming up and whatnot, and just seeing guys up on the wall with shotguns staring down at us, and we weren't prisoners, and it was still really oppressive. Yes, people who say prisoners have it easy are usually completely ignorant, have usually never been inside one even as a visitor, but almost invariably have never been in the circumstance where they were deprived of their liberty and locked up in a little room and had no control over their lives like that. It's pretty fucking hardcore. Yes. Oh, there you go. Tari, so your brother had been inside, Game of Frost. Yeah, stepbrother. I mean, I've visited enough times to not have many illusions and talked to prisoners about the shit that happens, to not have any illusions about prison being a holiday camp, because it really isn't. I mean, Fox Question experiments on people, just putting a person, locking them in an empty room, and that only for a couple of days, and people start to complain. Oh yeah, that's why solitary confinement is such a brutal punishment. Locking someone in a tiny space for an extended period, like, man, it damages the human brain really quickly. It is a really fucking harsh thing to do to a person. Okay, Tara, you're doing, yeah, people get in fights, you get built up for no reason. The stories, from what I've been told by people on the inside, a lot of the stories of rape in prison are exaggerated. But if you're young and good looking, you are going to have a difficult time of it inside. You Game of Frost, right? When you visit someone, you get scanned. In some places, you'll have a really intimate physical pat down, and yeah, the guards are really threatening to you when you're a visitor, basically. You're right, Miss Foxification. If you deprive a human mind of input, it starts inventing input. You start to hear and see things. For some people, that happens really quickly. There's a story. There are these specific noise deadening rooms that are used. Some universities have them for recording. You know, like when you see a recording studio and they have that sort of egg carton waffly stuff on the wall. That's sound baffles, and it's very good at stopping echoes and deadening the sound. People often call it soundproofing, and that's often inaccurate. What it's really doing in a lot of cases is deadening the sound. It's stopping echoes. There are these special rooms where they've constructed them to absorb so much sound that the rooms are regarded to have negative decibels. Like if you sit in them silently, you start to hear your own blood pumping in your ears really quickly. And most people can't stand to be in these rooms for more than a few minutes because the sound deadening, like your voice doesn't carry at all. I saw a fun thing like QI. They record the sound of popping a balloon, and you know, in a normal room, a balloon goes bang when you pop it. Literally popping a balloon in this sound deadening room, it went like the noise was hardly louder than that because it was just so when your own voice doesn't even sound like it, people tend to get extremely agitated in these rooms. So it's very easy to psychologically torture humans. 24, g'day there, buddy. Worried about World War III, particularly with the Syria chemical attack. America saying they're going to react, and Russia saying you don't want to do that because we'll do something if you do. That is pretty disturbing stuff. And Trump is hardly what we'd call a statesman. But then again, Putin owns him. So I don't know. Putin just calls him and says, buddy, let's just calm down or the fucking P tape comes out, okay? I don't know, man. The world is very volatile. When you look at the tensions between North Korea and their immediate neighbors, you look at the tensions with Syria now, the Assad regime apparently using chemical weapons again, and Russia backing and protecting Assad, and the rest of the world wanting to get rid of Assad. It's pretty fucking volatile. I have no idea what's going to happen. Was it Charlie? You play Static on a radio with half ping pong balls on your eyes. Oh yeah, no. If you you're right, white noise, blanket either because it's very hard to get complete silence. So sometimes white noise will help you. But yes, without stimulation, you start to hallucinate really quickly. But I even like, these days, mostly if you tune your TV to a dead channel, it just goes blue. Who remembers when it was over-the-air broadcast rather than cable broadcast TV? If your TV was tuned to a dead channel, you'd get all the static. You get the swirly static. Does everyone like know what I'm talking about with that? Just the swirling static on that. I used to really enjoy tuning the TV to a dead channel, getting the static, and sitting really close to it, like with the volume up, so you're getting the static noise, and sitting really close and staring at the static, and you start to see patterns in it. It's really weird. Like stuff, it's just like zzz, it's the lines refreshing, so it's actually horizontal, but it starts to, if you stare at it, it gives the illusion that it's swirling on. Fucking fantastic. Oh, that's right, Safa. Yeah, the analog TV signal. 24. If you meditate on paper with a dot note, that will hurt my eyes. Yeah, I like. Who's seen those static images? You can find them. They're optical illusions, and they're made up. The colors in them are like chromatically opposite, and when they're right next to each other, your eye and your brain is trying to adjust really harsh contrast between the colors, and you start to see movement. It's a completely still image, but if you look at it, because of the way your eyes and your brain are trying to process the information, you get the illusion that the picture's moving. It's trippy as hell. Oh, 24, you're saying, will I? Will that hurt your eyes? I don't know. If you don't have any other stimulation, you will start to, I don't know about hurt your eyes, but you will start to hallucinate. There's also, another really fantastic optical illusion I've seen. It's an animated GIF, and there's two pictures, like celebrity faces, right? There's two celebrities' faces on there, and there's a dot in the middle, and you're told to focus on the dot. And it's an animated GIF, so the faces change every second or couple of seconds. But if you just look at the pictures of the faces, it's just the celebrities' faces, they're rotating around. But if you focus on the dot, the faces start to distort. And not a little bit, the faces go completely strange. They get really twisted and warped and disfigured, and to the point that you think someone's tricking you. Like, oh, at a certain point, these just stop. And these weird things come up. So yeah, you fall in that, you think, no, someone's fooling me. And you stop staring at the dot and just look at the, you look at the faces for a couple of minutes, and they're completely normal photos. And you go, no, it's a loop. They're completely normal. They're completely normal. And then you stare at the dot again, and the faces, which are basically in your peripheral vision at this point, the faces distort just in these really extreme ways, which just goes to show it's really easy to mess with human brains. Shell Former, yeah, the blinking. There are some good sort of Mandelbrot set GIFs, animated GIFs, that if you blink really rapidly while watching them, it's really trippy, because with each blink, it's something completely there. AS24, Mimsy is here. She's with us. Oh, well, okay, I like that one, Miss Foxification. If you really want to bend your mind, put a black piece of paper in a glass picture frame, a candle between you and the frame so you can see your reflection, and stare at your reflection. Okay, I'm intrigued by that. Oh, Mimsy's having a big stretch. Are you sick of sitting there? No? You going to keep us company, or are you going to scratches your stare around? Scratches your stare around. You like having your head scratched, don't you? Yes, she likes. All right, she's going for a walk. Yeah, but basically, your brain is incredibly easy to fool. So when people say, "I'll believe it when I see it with my own eyes," that's actually kind of dumb because your eyes can be fooled absurdly easy. Like it really, really weird. Yeah, Shell Former, Tom Cruise is in Olympics. Okay, look, I'm going to open mail. Like this seems to have nothing in it, this one. They're all from the same person. There's about 20 things. This one, envelope. Is there anything? Is there a receipt, a fuel offer? Ran out on April 1st. I don't know if that does that mean this is an April Fool joke? And there's a tiny piece of paper in here. There's a tiny piece of paper. Okay, so this is the sort of oddness that's here. It's just a fuel voucher that expired on April 1st. So there's possibly an April Fool's joke. This one also does not seem to have much in it at all. Oh, stress, there's like 20 of these. My God, what's in this? Oh, this is a religious one. How can you make sense of the world? You can make sense of the news. Beyond today, oh, that's these people that I got signed up to. I also got, we might see if there's anything in this to laugh at later as well. Okay, so that's in that envelope. Sure, former. I see it, but I don't believe it. Yes, that was Vince Sorrenti. Game Frost. It'd be funny if it was Bearing because it's costing him a lot of money. Okay, what's in this one? Another. Oh, this is where we get this person's weird shopping habits. I think that's like a wrapper of something, a chocolate. But what did they buy that they want me to know about? 2 items, water and deodorant. Well, that's good to know they're buying deodorant, whoever it is. Ooh, this has got a bit more in it, this one. Okay. Let's have a look. I think this is actually a letter. What's this one? And that's photocopy. What is this? Okay. There's a picture of a printout of a headline from US Weekly, Ellen DeGeneres saying her father died. Okay. Okay, this is another one with not much in it. This is just an insight into God knows what. It's another docket. It is another docket. This time, oh, this is topping up their Optus phone. Excellent. Excellent. Now I know they've got phone credit. That's good to know, isn't it? Tendai, you are absolutely right. This is someone wasting money. This is like $20 to send all this to me. Ew. I'm always wary that there's, that looks like toilet paper, like not used toilet paper. Yeah. It's like folded up. I keep expecting to find pubes in one of these. Honestly, there's something going on with whoever this is. They're an enigma wrapped in a mystery, wrapped in a riddle. They shop at Woolworths on Kinghorn Street. Okay. And they like me. They like Pepsi Max vanilla. There you go. And Red Bull. They wanted to stay up. You're getting Pepsi Max and Red Bull. They wanted to stay up. Game of Frost. Yeah, I don't know. I think Bearing would probably be affronted that we think he's this weird. This is more dockets. Look, I'm getting an insight into this person's life. Yes, they've prepaid their phone again. A chocolate bar and a chocolate milk or a nice coffee milk. Okay, cool. I like these little shares of their life. It's a really long docket for not much. Another option. Well, it's good to know they've got things. Yes. It's really weird that they've just sent like it's $1. Each of these envelopes is $1. Want to learn more? Where are we? Want to learn more? Want to learn more about the person who sent this, really. It's a very interesting. Yes, that's actually the same thing. Another want to learn more. Cool. Ooh, this is a chunky one. This is a chunky one. It's another printout. What do we have a printout of here? This is It's a technical guide to onion routing. It's 6 pages of technical notes about onion routing. Wow, okay, cool. That's going to come in handy. "24. They must be mentally unstable. Or they're trying to trip me out. Who knows?" Wait, what's this one? It's another printout. What do we got this time? "Religious or technical or celebrity gossip?" Because I've had all of those. This one, yeah, no, this is onion routing. So this person wants me to know about onion routing, which is encryption, which I know about. But, you know, thanks for sharing the info about onion routing. Celtic King, you want to get into the centre's head? Not sure that's safe, buddy. Ooh, what's this one? Oh, this is interesting. It's from the Australian Conservation Foundation. That's for a bit of variety. All right. What's this one? Miss Fox Station, you may be right. Maybe they're trying to send me a message about I go on an onion router. I bet like this. How can you make the world make sense? Not by opening these envelopes. I'll tell you that much. Got almost nothing in it. They sent $1 to. There's just some weird little offcuts of paper in that one. There's not a. They spent $1 to send me some weird little offcuts of paper. I look, geez, I wonder if those are like soaked in acid, like as in LSD, and they're trying to give me a treat and I don't realise it, and I'll be really disappointed when I throw it out. More Woolworths vouchers. What are they buying today? Spring water. That's healthier than the Pepsi. Another Optus recharge. Ooh, and then they went to Officeworks. And some sort of book for $36. Well, there you go. The variant. Yeah. Okay. Ooh, another printout. What's this? I think this is another religious one. Oh, no, it's the Fred Hollows Foundation. Okay, there is a real diversity of stuff in here. Fred Hollows Foundation, for those who don't know, is a medical foundation set up by the late Dr. Fred Hollows to do sight-saving surgery for underprivileged people. So for now, I haven't tried to recharge that credit. I don't have an Optus phone. This one has also got a fair bit in it. What's in this one? Fold it up. Another printout. Ah, we're back to religious ones. Oh, this is dirt on Jehovah's Witnesses. Don't know if this is the same one. That they sent me before, because I did get one before about some shenanigans in the Jehovah's Witnesses. Wow, someone getting barred from the Jehovah's Witnesses for being violent. Maybe they're trying to tell me that's VD. I don't know. It does look a bit like a urine sample, doesn't it? It's like tropical lemonade. Game of Thrones, you know Fred Hollows, and you don't? Good. Good on you. Fred Hollows was a bit of a weird bird, but did a lot of good work with saving people's lives, and more of his shopping vouchers. Red Bull and Pepsi Max again. And Lynx body spray. Look, dude, I question your choice of deodorant, quite honestly. I know Bury VD wanted to be a Mormon, but apparently got kicked out for his obnoxious behaviour and drug use. This is someone else. And this is more about proxies. proxies and anonymous routing. So if we were to take any message from all of these, it would be, this person wants me to know some dirt about the Jehovah's Witnesses, find the hidden meaning in life, support some good causes, and get some secure encryption happening, which is a pretty interesting combo. 24. I think you and me will both be forced to war. Unfortunately, my lad, at 19, you would be subject to conscription. I, on the other hand, being an old man, would not be subject to conscription. My son and daughter, on the other hand, would be at risk. Charlie saying your local G-dubs don't even bother knocking. Just leave pamphlets in the mail thing. Yeah. Sure, for me saying bearing sponsored by a VPN. Yeah, that makes sense. Does a lot of dodgy shit, wants to hide. Let's see if there's anything fun in this thing. And God knows how much it costs these people to send this to me. Okay, what do we got? Something else in here. All right. We're asking the question about, are we going to get, well, look, the Middle Eastern Bible prophecy. Are we all going to die? Probably. Shifting tide against the United States. Setting the stage for Armageddon. Yep. 24, you die fast. Dude, don't be negative. I want you to be okay. Oh, look, they sent me from the United Church of God, Australia. No postage necessary. Like if I put lead weights in this and send it back to them, that'll cost them a fortune. I'll have to pay for it. Not saying I'd do that, but you know. Okay, before you work on a farm, so you won't get drafted. Essential services. Good. RC, don't be sure your great-granddad fought in the Boer War or served both world wars. Yeah, but you don't get drafted at my age. It is possible to enlist, and besides, also, you know, I'm a fat bastard and wouldn't pass their physical anyway. It is possible for older people to enlist in the army. You don't get drafted above a certain age. So, yes, that'd be out of it. Celtic King, would I send them to church? Well, if I just send them empty, it'll still cost them $1, because that's what it costs for a single letter. Yeah, I don't really want to be a complete dick, even if I think their establishment is really shitty. I don't like them. I mean, like, we've made jokes before about would send them some porn or whatnot. But Shuffleman, would you get drafted with glasses? I think so. It depends how bad your vision is. But I think people with glasses can serve in the military. 24, he said, if only you'd be so dead. Be a thing. I'll go for us, your hemophiliac as well. Yeah, that you might fail the medical with that. 24. Religion's a lie. When we die, spirits chose to say they reject flight. Well, you know, I think we feed the worms myself, but, you know, not that there's anything necessarily wrong with that. You know, part of the endless cycle. We go back into the earth as fertilizer. So as a Bureau, as someone who's decided not to procreate since you don't consider yourself responsible enough to be in a committed relationship, you had an uncomfortable 10 minutes while getting a haircut. Hey, Toby, how are you? Yes, I think you're right, Miss Foxification. If you're in the army, you have to be fit for deployment. But yeah, we get half an hour in. I think now I've had the fun of opening the mail. Hey, I was thinking, warmed up now, maybe get into central thing I wanted to have a go. This also depends on people having seen The Last Jedi and having a strong opinion about it. But after some discussions in the last couple of days, I'm really keen, because a lot of people put thinking, I hate The Last Jedi because, and I can pick apart their argument really quickly. Now, I'm not saying someone's personal taste is wrong by definition. If someone goes, well, I just didn't enjoy it, that is absolutely completely valid. But people who get really worked up and say, oh, it's terrible, it was it was a betrayal of this, and this didn't make sense, and blah, 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 blah. Toby, what other kind of weirdness has been going on? Just the general weirdness. Aidsy is unwell. Look, as we speak, I'll send him a text just to see if he's up. What are you doing? Oh, my phone is fucking up. I was trying to install an update. Oh, thanks, Tara. Yes, if everyone thinks of it, you can hit the thumbs up. I was going to use my phone and now I can't because fucking Apple, man. Oh, wait, what the fuck? Oh, I said later. Now it's fucked up on me. God damn it. Yeah, Tendai, I thought that line about salt in The Last Jedi was hilarious and has been used hilariously. It's oh, you're right, Bure. If someone complains and says with Poe Dameron attacking the dreadnought doesn't get shot, it's like, because he's a fucking hero, and they've already established in the Force Awakens he's an unbelievably good pilot. Like there's that great scene where the First Order are attacking that sort of temple type bar where the heroes are hanging out, and then when the Resistance comes screaming up on the First Order fighters, Poe in one sweep around takes out about a dozen TIE fighters. And it's really, really well shot. She's like, bam, 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 flying through, and he just is wiping people out. But yeah, and you're right, you're also, a dreadnought is designed to engage other cruisers. A small, fast-moving fighter can evade its defenses. Oh, damn, 24, you got a new phone and just erased it. Yeah, no, I was going to use my phone and I said no, install later, and it's going, oh yeah, you know, fucking know what? I'm going to install now. So my phone's out of commission for half an hour. Safa, why wasn't Luke's lightsaber green, not blue, since Ray had his blue lightsaber at the same time in the battle? Well, Safa, Luke was just a psychic projection, so he could make his lightsaber whatever he wanted. 10 times. As Mercy from Overwatch always says, heroes never die, before Jeff nerfed her into the ground again. Oh, you lost your old phone. Okay, I see. Yeah. Oh, actually, weirdly, just remind me, speaking of Overwatch, I'm a little bit of a comics reader. I've got a couple of regular ones. I just picked up my most recent. This is the my regular comics, The Walking Dead, latest issue of The Walking Dead, and Kill or Be Killed. These guys, Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, are a fucking amazing team. And the colorist in this one, Elizabeth Brightweiser, she is a good colorist. But Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, Ed Brubaker writer, Sean Phillips artist, are a bit of a team. Stuff they do together is really good. But I got these. They gave me this free teaser comic for Overwatch. They're bringing out an Overwatch comic. They're trying to give some backstory to the Overwatch world. which is interesting. I'm not very interested in reading the comic myself, but it was interesting that they're doing it. So what's that, Biori? In the Old Republic, talking Star Wars, you get rail shooter missions, you're playing a character ship. One mission, you're taking down a ship's turrets with relative ease. And that's the thing. And there's also that the sort of comedy routine Poe does at the start, pretending he's on hold and he can't hear Hux. He's just winding him up. You see, he's doing some charge thing on his engine. It's like a supercharger powering up. And the instant that's fully charged, he kicks it in, and his X-Wing is super fast, like even much faster than normal. So saying, the Dreadnought couldn't shoot him. It's like, because he's a very good pilot and his ship is small and fast. Oh, Game of Frost, you got a Mercy figurine. Cool. I don't really collect the various figures and whatnot for anything. I used to have a bunch of Star Wars toys when I was a kid, but I really like seeing really well-made collectibles and figurines. Yeah, and it's amazing the things they make. Like when you look in some of the comic shops or collectible shops, there's amazing stuff out there. A 24, you're a Johnny English fan. Okay, cool. Yes, I did see there's a third Johnny English movie coming out. I have to admit, was a surprise. I didn't know the first two were that big. But hey, it's out. Speaking of Overwatch, there's an event called Retribution, showing the point where Overwatch began its gradual decline. Okay. Yeah, well, in this comic, the little setup they do, they're talking about some evil group that the Overwatch group are trying to bring down, and they're planning, what can they do to get these bad guys. And one of the bad guys smuggles a bomb into their headquarters and blows up their headquarters and kills most of the people in it. So yeah, your characters from the game who survived it have vengeance in mind. Timothy, you're trying to get into Fortnite. I've seen a bit of Fortnite gameplay. It looks interesting. I'm not sure I'll get into it because I'm not really into those sort of frenetic multiplayer shoot 'em ups. But it looks interesting, certainly. Game of Frosts. Oh, you're putting a picture on Twitter. Yeah, tag me, man. Tag me on Twitter with a picture. I would be interested in seeing it. See, they need to bring back Prune Face in the next Star Wars movie. And then your 80s Kenner figure will make. Man, I swear, in the toys they made, particularly in the first trilogy, it got to the stage where they were really, really milking it. It's like, hey, here's a character that was in a background scene for 5 seconds. Here's a figure of it. Right. 24, I did see apparently like one of those current affairs shows, Today Tonight or something, ran a whole thing on Fortnite being evil and kids are playing it and it should be banned. I thought Fortnite actually had a really low rating, like it was only PG, like it wasn't even M. But so I don't see it getting banned. Yes. Timothy, do I do much PC gaming on Steam? Not at the moment. I was playing some of the Borderlands games for a while, and my friend Frank sent me Postal because he thinks Postal is hilarious. But yeah. Miss Fox goes rated for 10. That's what I thought. Yeah. 24 thinking it's PUBG that has the blood. Yeah, I thought from what I've seen, Fortnite is like really fast paced and kind of like, yeah, you do shoot people and blow people up and whatnot, but it's not gory. I am with you with regards to parenting is foxation. Being a parent, I think it's important to know what your kids are doing, and relying on the government to do everything for you is a fucking mistake. Yes, you're right. Yeah, Pat talks Fortnite's a casual game. Is foxification is very cartoony. I like that idea, Biori. Fortnite's forcing PUBG to step up its game because they have competition, so they have to improve. 24. It was ruined when Tittle Towers was added. See, I don't play either PUBG or Fortnite, so it doesn't mean an awesome, a huge amount to me. I'm a bit antisocial with gaming. I don't really like multiplayer online games. So I played through Grand Theft Auto 5, which I really enjoyed, and of course you can then go play GTA Online. And I'm just not interested in having to deal with the griefers. Timothy, I could do AngryAussie gaming stream. I should, yeah, like I should maybe set up. I think I'm a member on Twitch, but I never go on there. I could set up a Twitch thing, I guess, and have a bit of fun in there, because I do live up to my stereotype more than a little when I'm gaming, in that I'm sitting there going left, no, what, fuck, no, and blame the controller when I'm dead. Because I tried to get back into first-person shooters like Doom and Wolfenstein, and they just couldn't hold me. But slightly more open-worldy ones like Zelda Breath of the Wild and Yakuza and Grand Theft Auto, I really enjoyed. I think Star Wars: The Old Republic's a good one. Okay, cool. Or Red Dead Redemption 2, you reckon, Patrick? I always thought Red Dead Redemption looked quite interesting. Oh no! See, what a bummer. In Christmas '84, you wanted an X-wing, and your parents got an orange Bespin Cloud City car. Damn, that's a letdown. That is a letdown. Timothy, I have not played The Last of Us, but that interests me as well. Will I get the new Yakuza? I might, because I enjoyed Yakuza 0. It's funny, my daughter got me that for Christmas because I was playing GTA 5 and enjoying it. And she was just basically, well, if you like that, you'll like this. And I did like Yakuza 0. Who here's played Yakuza 0? Because you play two different characters whose paths never cross. They're in different cities. Sometimes they're in the same city and their paths still don't cross, but there's a connection in their story. And, like us again, there's a grind. You build up your character, you level up, and you do these things. And they each have a thing. It's like the grind they do to build up money in the game. And for one of the guys, it's real estate, and you're trying to expand real estate. And there's this rather violent group called the Four Billionaires who don't like you moving in on their territory. So as your real estate empire expands, you come into conflict with these people. And my phone's rebooted. Get started. Okay, good. I'm done. Okay, now I'm actually going to text Aidsy and see if we get a response from him. Say what's happening in Aidsy world. There we go. We'll see if we get a response from him. Oh, don't jinx us, 24. We've had no troll so far. Timothy, you think I should have my own late night show? You know what I think would be fun? Because I used to do radio. And late night, particularly AM, late night radio, gets super weird people calling in. So I've often thought doing a call-in radio show, like midnight to dawn, would be really interesting. I don't really want to live that life. I don't want to live a life where I'm nocturnal and never interact with people during the day. But there's an aspect of it that I think is really interesting. But yeah, what's the saying? Yakuza Zero. One guy builds up real estate, and the other guy builds up clubs, hostess clubs. And I don't know about anyone else, but I couldn't get the fucking hostess club thing happening. Whereas I came out on I completed the whole real estate thing and became the real estate king and had so much money there was nothing I could do with it. But the other guy, his leveling up quest was just so fucking annoying. I couldn't do it. 24, you're buying a Switch. I've got a Switch. I'm on and off, not playing regularly, but on and off playing Zelda Breath of the Wild on the Switch, and it's good. Mrs. Angry plays Skyrim. When she gets bored with Skyrim, I might play Skyrim. Yeah, so we've got it's ages since I bought like a new generation gaming platform, but in the last year got a PS4 and Switch, and they're both pretty good. Ooh, you build a new gaming PC, Miss Foxification. Nice. There's a trouble. I wanted to get a new PC, but the things I want to make my video editing easier, like a better video card, more RAM, faster processor, they're all stupidly expensive now because of fucking Bitcoin mining. People want more high-powered computers for the Bitcoin mining, so all the fucking components doubled in price in the last year. Really annoying. Timothy, would I add people on Switch? Oh, as I was saying earlier, I don't do. That's the Nintendo gaming platform, Toby. I don't do any of the online stuff with the Switch or the PS4 or my computer, for that matter. Even when I'm playing Steam games like Borderlands, I just play the games. I don't do the online stuff. Who do you go? What do you got? Miss Foxification Specs got a Ryzen 5 1600, 16 gigabyte Corsair Vengeance 3K, Eastern Service 152. I don't know what any of that means. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, I think young Mr. Angry wants a new desktop for his birthday. So I will have to look into that. Now I'm working again and can afford a new computer. Because I actually took a break from work, which went a bit longer. I meant to be off for a month or so, but I ended up being off for like 2-3 months, which is fine because I really enjoyed a break. But now I'm back in the working world, and yeah, exactly, Timothy. Yay, money! And I happened to get a job that pays really well. Like in the early days when I was doing my job searching, because no, go away. Now my bloody laptop's trying to install an update, which I'm sure would cut this off. Yeah, when I started looking for a job, a couple of people were trying to get me, because I'm a contractor, and so the rates can vary a fair bit. And a couple of people tried to convince me to take jobs at like fully 25% less than my normal rate. And, you know, when you're not actually employed, you know, you can go a bit, maybe I should. Being paid less is better than not being paid at all. But I held out, and I got a really good paying job, and been in it like 4 weeks now, and it's really good. Okay, there is something wrong with my Twitter connection, but I do see that you've tagged me in the figurine. Hopefully they'll come up at some point. Oh wait, maybe my phone's working better, in fact. Miss Foxification, I'll do the update when we finish the live stream. I'm just going to check this pic on the Twitters. It'll probably work on my phone. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Nice. And this will probably look really shit if I show you all on here, but that is a nice. That is yeah. Try and get that. That is a nice figure that you've got there. Like it. And now this just put the bad thing into my head because I do spend a bit of time hanging out on sites like Reddit and Inja. And so, of course, it was impossible to avoid finding out that Overwatch porn exists. And it's like, oh my God. 24, you found people who make furry porn for a living. Yeah, look, there's something for everyone. Oh, Bjorn, I did see the new Solo trailer. I'm not like super amped to see Solo, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to go see it. And I think the trailers make it look pretty good. It looks like Cat's not even there anymore. Why don't I sit straight? Yeah, I think the trailers look pretty good. I'm definitely going to go see Solo movie. I'm intrigued to see what they do because that's another test for them. Of course, the first big test was just making a new movie. Like, how will a new Star Wars movie go? And of course, The Force Awakens went brilliantly. I think it's a great movie. If you don't like it, it's fine. But it made a lot of money as well, okay? And then the next big test was Rogue One. It was like, okay, so now we're going to make a movie that's outside of the central storyline. And it's the first time they tried to do that. And Rogue One was a fucking great movie as far as I'm concerned. And now Solo is the first backstory of a known character, which obviously they can do heaps of that if this works. So Solo's the next test. I mean, if Solo works, both, I guess, commercially and for fans and artistically, I guess you could say, then that opens the door. They can do the fucking movies on everyone. I think, yeah, Biori, I think if you're hard into Star Wars fandom, you already knew Chewie was like 190 years old. But that was a good line in the trailer where Chewie says he's going to fly the Falcon, and Han goes, "Since when could you fly?" And Chewie goes, "Roar." He's really 190. You look great. Oh, nice. You're collecting a few Game of Frost. Tracer, Soldier 76. Nice. So you're talking about remaking a Christmas special because there's at least one other Wookiee who is somehow close to Chewbacca in the Solo movie. There's just this one shot of Chewbacca sharing a moment with another Wookiee. And I did see some people saying that needs to be his wife, the Christmas special, because that would be perfect if it was. That would just be awesome. Rory, will they do a Leia movie? Yeah, I don't think so. Look, they might do an. I think obviously at some point they're going to do an Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic stuff, because there were some great stories in the Old Republic games and books. So there's a lot of stuff they can work there. I think it's basically inevitable they will do some Old Republic movies. Speaking of other stuff that's been published, there's some comics which I haven't read, but were very well received. There was a series came out last year, maybe the year before. It was Darth Vader. It was a bit of Darth Vader's story from between the prequels and A New Hope, and I think some of it might have been stuff that was happening in the background where the original trilogy was happening. Some more story in there, but that was very well received. I mean, a Darth Vader movie would be fucking great. Pat Talks, I haven't been watching the Commonwealth Games. I mean, obviously I've seen the highlights on the news. I was laughing at, the Commonwealth Games, and, some people bag it and go, it's, oh, it's not as serious as the Olympics, isn't it? But there's been people setting world records. So if you're into that sort of thing, you can't say it's tiddlywinks if people are setting world records in it. It's obviously top level competition there. But I mean, my personal favorite is lawn bowls. Every time I see lawn bowls, it's like, yes, technically I could still be a Commonwealth Games gold medalist. I could get into lawn bowls, which I have played, I could get into lawn bowls, and if I practice, I could compete at the top level. Theoretically, I could still be a Commonwealth Games gold medalist. I sure for me, you like Dark Empire. I still remember Dark Forces, the first really full-on computer game they made for Star Wars. I really enjoyed that. Game of Thrones. Sorry, Biori. Vader puts 2 and 2 together. I did see some scans of pages, a thing where Vader's either on a Star Destroyer or a space station, and he realizes the Emperor is fucking with him, and he's just like staring out this big window, and it starts to crack, and that's just Vader's anger with the Force. Cracking the glass. That was pretty good. Hey, Wrestling Days, Big Pat, how you going, buddy? You're right, RC, tug of war was an Olympic sport until the 1920s. What do I think about YouTube tracking kids? Not good. Look, we're being tracked by everything and everyone. This is fucking tracking me wherever I go. You're being, because of the way Siri works, you're being monitored the whole time. Like, fuck putting things like Google Home Assistant or Alexa or any of that shit in my house. Actually, constant surveillance device in my house. This is bad enough. The other stuff's just asking for trouble, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, we give over so much to surveillance at the moment. But like, even what's been discovered, I don't know if elsewhere in the world, but it's definitely being found in the US. Like mobile towers. Like, there's a mobile tower that's boosting my phone. The government surveillance agencies have their own mobile towers. And they look like a normal mobile tower, and yes, they transmit mobile signal, but they're intercepting all the transmissions from the phones, and there's nothing you can do about that. It's basically, as the Snowden revelations showed, the spying infrastructure in the US, the NSA, has things set in place essentially to monitor every single person in the US if they want to. Obviously, the logistics of listening into everything that everyone does is impossible, but they have the infrastructure in place to eavesdrop on literally anyone and everyone if they want to. It's like, yay. Oh my God, trackers. Yeah. Yeah. Again, stuff that's just monitoring behavior. Well, I mean, I think we've had this discussion on a live stream before about talking about, the Facebook thing, Cambridge Analytica and Russian bots, and, they affected the US election. And it's like, well, if all they did is exploit the fact that people are emotional and you can get them worked up really easily and manipulate their behavior, did they actually do something wrong? All they did is go, people are stupid. We can manipulate them. I don't know. I don't know what they did. Gotta go. Thanks for dropping by, Gamer Frost. Yeah. If you get any more, definitely tag me in any pics you have. Very interested in seeing. So, mispronunciation, the trackers on YouTube, I assume they're all ad trackers. It's basically stuff trying to push track where you are and push particular content to you. That's my guess, because that's Google's big thing, to try and know as much about you as possible and track you and push very specific stuff at you. What they do, it's how they make their billions. Not really much we can do about the fact that they want to make billions of dollars out of us by selling our eyeballs. It always cracks me up, because getting old enough, being on the internet for long enough, when Google first started, the wise people of the business world said, like, you can't make money from internet search. You know, like the Google guys tried to sell their algorithm to a couple people for, you know, merely $1 million or something, and no one wanted to buy it, because like, we can do search, you can't make money off search, why would we pay you for search? And Byron, exactly as you say, if you're getting something for free, that means on some level you're the product. And all these internet things we get for free, the platform providing those things to us is then selling our attention to advertisers. It's as simple as that. We get those platforms because they're subsidized by advertisers. So while we get YouTube, we get Facebook, we get Twitter, we get every news site on this. But we are being served as a product to advertisers. 24, you want to get up and do a Facebook campaign? Yeah, do it. I mean, Facebook has existed for too long already. I mean, you know, we used to have Friendster, we used to have MySpace, but they faded away. Facebook should have faded away by now. It won't last forever. Facebook will go away. There is the possibility to create the next thing. There's always that possibility. So what's that misfoxification? If there's a social media applet site, service knows where you are, know a few other details. Yeah, it can be linked to your IP address, all that sort of things. Yeah, 24 peer-to-peer stuff. Look, I honestly think, the next big thing, because at the moment, you know, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube. I think the next big thing will be some sort of integrated platform. And hey, maybe blockchain. Everyone says blockchain like it's magic. But I think the next big thing will be some sort of unified platform. And I mean, Facebook's trying to do that. They're trying to make themselves a video destination. I don't think they're doing very well at it at the moment. But yeah, and Byron, as you say, there's a lot of shit hitting the fan for Facebook at the moment, which is pretty tough. Yeah, and everyone's getting pretty sick of it, and they think they've been screwed over by Facebook. Oh, what do we got? It's only 9:11. We're gonna have a drink. Big question is what? What will I drink? I've got so much to choose from. Yes. I know what I'll do. Grab a lemonade. Just a sec. Grab a lemonade. Got to grab some ice. Grab some ice, baby. Some green in it. Make myself a limeade. It's the lemonade. There's a little bit in this bottle, so a little bit of this. Just make up a quick concoction here. Okay. Do you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain? Oh, it's such a weird song. So I was quite a young lad when that came out. It's like, and that's sort of sold as a happy ending. For those who don't know the Pina Colada song, which is technically the song's called Escape, it's a guy, a middle-aged guy, who's bored with his relationship, and so advertises in... no, does he advertise or does he look? I think he looks in the personal section of the newspaper, and he thinks they're all kind of boring, but then he finds an ad that says, "Do you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain? If you're not into health food, if you have half a brain, if you like making love at midnight in the June by the Cape, I'm the love that you've looked for. Write to me and escape." And then he replies to it and meets the person, and it turns out to be his wife. They were both unhappy, but then they realised they were really a good match. They should make it together, and that's supposedly a happy ending. And that's fairly fucked up as far as I'm concerned. Means they're both intending to be unfaithful, but they found each other, and that's somehow okay. That was the 70s, I guess. That was the other funny thing about the 70s. You could be a pop star if you were an ugly middle-aged guy like me. You didn't have to be young and beautiful. There were an enormous amount of really huge pop hits in the 70s that were sung by fucking ugly middle-aged guys. You know, where are those days now that I need them? That's what I know. You're right, Charlie. Kate Bush's Babushka is about setting up a persona, except that it has an unhappy ending because it's a wife manipulating the husband, and it ends badly. His foxification. Look at Mick Jagger. No, Mick Jagger's an old man, not a middle-aged man. He's an old man. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about in the 70s. Yeah. Well, I guess Mick, depending on your personal tastes, in the 60s, Mick Jagger was good looking and sexy. He's just hung around a really long time. But I mean, you know, there were things like that song that I mentioned, Escape was one of them. But there are a whole bunch. Oh, yeah. Meatloaf. That's a good one of his foxification. It's true. Yeah, yeah. For some reason in the 70s, you could be an ugly middle-aged guy and still be a pop star. You know, so now I'm an ugly middle-aged guy. Seems really unfair. Which actually just remind me, because I've had the last couple of weeks, they're gone now, as we haven't had any trolls tonight. But for a couple of weeks there, because first the old Stain Bear had a go at me, and then fuckhead McHitler dog got up. Now, okay, Hitler dog guy, he's completely justified having a go at me because I had a go at him. When I made the video where I said, and what I said was, I thought him being prosecuted was stupid, and him being convicted was fucking ridiculous. But I looked at the video and I looked at everything he's done. I think he's actually an asshole, and I actually don't give a shit about him. And that really upset his fans that I wasn't slavishly going, "Yeah, free speech is just joking." I go, no, I've seen the neo-Nazis and the alt-right, and I know they do this thing where they say incredibly offensive shit, and their sole aim is to normalize hate speech. And when you call them out and go, "That's unacceptable," they go, "It's just a joke. Can't you take a joke?" Fuck those cowards. And I am quite convinced that's what this guy is. He was just playing the game like, oh, say a bunch of anti-Semitic shit, and when you get called on it, just say, "It's a joke." Review hardcore sports. Okay. First, just the username makes you sound like a fucking child. But as you're new here, I will say, if you're boring and a dickhead, you get kicked out. But 24, what was... No, that's a fair question, was I? Actually, we had a conversation about this in another one. I got into fights at school. I wasn't severely bullied. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't on the top rung, but pity the sucker who was a rung below me, because I'd fucking take it out on them. I'm trying to think what... I never got bullied in a... You know how bullying is generally regarded to be an ongoing thing? I never got bullied by someone in an ongoing way. I did get into fights. I need to get targeted a couple of times. And see, because I was in a country town, and you know, things are a bit small there. And I went to Catholic school in the town. So there were a couple of state schools, and there was a Catholic school when I was there. There were no other private schools. There was just the Catholic school. And so some of the guys in the state schools would get a bit antsy at kids from the Catholic school, and I did end up getting into a couple of fights with someone who just wanted to fight me, but yeah, not necessarily bullying as such. 24, you got bullied for your disability as a teacher. Look, man, schools are often really, really fucking bad at dealing with bullying, and it sucks. It sucks. Like way back, God, when my son had a problem when he was in about, you know, like year 3 or 4. He was really quite young, with some shit of a kid bullying him, following him home and punching him. But he stood up to it, and the school were actually really good. And you know, it turns out this kid come from a psycho fucked home and all that sort of stuff. And but they took steps. They took ownership of it. But I've heard terrible stories. Like one I read, like as a thing written by a teacher, and they were so pissed off with what the school had done, they you know, they had a very strict anti-bullying thing, and this teacher also ran a choir, and you know, a lot of the popular girls were in the choir and everything, and they would start each choir session reciting this oath about, you know, I won't be a bully, I'll stand up to bullying, I'll support someone who's bullied, you know, as a core thing, very serious about bullying. And then at one parent-teacher night, a parent who didn't speak very good English was trying to communicate, oh, you know, my daughter just wants to, this, you know, she'll stand up the back, and the teacher's going, what? Because anyone could be in the choir. And and the mother saying, oh, she doesn't have to be at the front, she'll be at the back. And she eventually worked out what's happening. Because this girl, she came from a non-English speaking background, and she was a bit overweight. She'd been bullied by these popular girls who said, you're too ugly and stupid to be in the choir. The same girls who at the start of every choir session recited this oath to stand up against bullying were telling this girl she couldn't be in the choir because she was too fat and ugly. And the teacher fucking lost it. She's like, what? Okay, they're fucking gone. They're out. Like, she found out which ones it was, and she went to the principal and said, you know, girl, ABC is doing this shit. It's so explicitly against our rules. And like, no, it's they're gone. They've got to be out. And the principal said, oh, but their parents are like really influential, and we don't want to, couldn't we just have a word with them? And it's like, no, we have these fucking rules that everyone agreed to, and these girls are just outrageously breaking them. And the principal's just like, can't we just let it go? And like, she quit. This teacher quit, just went, no, fuck you people. You don't mean, if God knows what else is happening that you're just sweeping under the carpet. This is bullshit. And hello, Lucas Trooper. Sorry for not saying hello earlier. I was in midstream. And hello, Batman Sport. Endless. Oh yeah. Look, dude. Endless. The whole thing. Yeah. You know what? I would believe him more that, oh, no, I'm really progressive. I think hate speech is terrible. I'd believe that more if he wasn't hanging out with Tommy Robinson now. And I pointed that out, and I have his fuckhead fan base going, oh, guilt by association. I go, when you are literally on trial for anti-Semitic hate speech, and you're hanging around and being championed by literally the most notorious bigot and purveyor of hate speech in England, I really, really think guilt by association is pretty goddamn fucking fair at that point, actually. I don't think you hang out with an absolutely disgusting piece of filth like Tommy Robinson unless you are pretty fucking comfortable with that shit. And the idea of just saying, oh, you can't do guilt by association. You fucking can when there's enough guilt in the association, as far as I'm concerned. So that was weird. And then I have to put up with people going, Tommy Robinson's not racist. What's Tommy Robinson ever done? It's like, no, you might as well be a flat earther. You're too fucking stupid, and I'm certainly not wasting time on you. Oh, sorry, all right. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. You bring up the dude in the Australian rugby team who won't stop saying quite extreme homophobic things, and he's copying a backlash for it. And now he's got people saying, "Oh, his free speech is being impinged." It's like, dude, it's such a comfortable thing to do. It's like, oh, here I am in my comfortable life. I can pretend vilifying people and saying they're sick and wrong and evil and will go to hell and are unnatural and enemies of humanity. I can pretend that has no effect. I can pretend that isn't the sort of stuff that drives kids to suicide. I can pretend that isn't the sort of stuff that makes bullies feel justified in homophobic attacks and murders, for that matter. It's just like, for fuck's sake, take some responsibility. Was that like a strip you heard about? Backpage got removed by the Trump government. Oh, God. Okay. Yeah. 24, you got to go to sleep. Well, look after yourself, buddy. Catch up another time. That's a video I'm going to do talking about free speech. I'm going to make a video on a much bigger free speech issue than Hitler dog is what they foster and cesta in the US, these things that people talk about. This is protecting people from sex trafficking. And no, it's not. It's just further criminalizing consenting sex workers. And it's saying all sex work is exploitation, and it's just bullshit. Byron, you and me both. Absolutely borderline impossible to work out how someone could conceive of flat Earth being a thing. 24, you're going to hang around. Okay, I'm going to be around for about another half hour. What do I think of Tracy Greenfield? Look, I don't watch those shows. You know, I don't watch those channels, basically. But I definitely don't watch those ridiculous current affairs shows because they just talk shit. Yeah, actually, Ms. Foxification, you're right. There are people who say the scientific explanation of gravity isn't real. And it's just like, oh, I don't know how to deal with you. It's kind of like there's a guy who's actually an Australian. He was a teacher in Queensland. His name's Ken Ham. He moved to the US to the most conservative sort of Bible Belt area, and opened the Creation Museum, like a thing with the Noah's Ark and stuff in it, which then blew a lot of money, which actually looked like a colossal scam. And he ended up having a debate about, I think, evolution and whatnot with Bill Nye, the science guy. And of course, Bill Nye is like just this super nice, polite person. And so having a very calm and reasoned discussion. And Ken Ham is saying this brain dead shit. And there was a really great photo sort of taken across while Ken Ham's talking. And Bill Nye's looking at him, and the look on Bill Nye is just, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, there's just this, for such a nice guy, the look on his face is just complete contempt and even disgust. It's just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And it was such a funny photo. Yeah, Locust Trooper, Trump's new obscenity laws. I have not heard that. What's that? That sounds like a bad idea. Review. School's worse than prison. It certainly feels that way when you're in it. It has the minor benefit of you get to go home at the end of the day, and there's theoretically a limit to school. But I completely understand that feeling when you're in school. Yeah. Yes, Mr. Fox, well, Fox, after 4 billion years of evolution, these people still can't think. I think some people have benefited less from evolution than others. Charlie, I agree with you. How did Bill Nye not bust out laughing? But seriously, if you find this photo, it looks like I don't know how Bill Nye didn't lean across and punch a motherfucker, because it looks like he wants to. He's just really looking at Ken Ham with complete contempt. It's just like this full on, what the fuck are you talking about? Trump needs to build the wall. That's just politics. I mean, that was, he never meant anything he said. He just says dumb shit and then lies about it afterwards. He's never held responsible for anything. It's like, Trump can literally say anything. His supporters can say anything. Musical aviator. What's more intelligent, Ken Ham or a slice of ham? A slice of ham's of more use. And a slice of ham is certainly no more stupid. But yes. 24, the Bermuda Triangle. No one talks about the Bermuda Triangle anymore. When I was a kid, the Bermuda Triangle was a big thing. Like everyone would talk about, ooh, what about all the planes and boats that disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle? Um, there's nothing there's no greater rate of loss of shipping or planes in the Bermuda Triangle than can be accounted for by frequency and weather patterns. But it was a great thing. Like when I was a kid, people talked about the Bermuda Triangle all the time. It was the big mystery of the world. So I think the you may be right. The only reason Mexico may pay for a wall with America, if the Mexicans realize they might want to keep the Americans out, could be. Review. Melbourne's an overrated city. I guess it depends what you rate as important. Because okay, I grew up in the country, and then I lived in Sydney for 10 years, which I enjoyed when I was there. And I've been in Melbourne 20 years now. Look, it absolutely depends what you want and what's important to you. I think it's way easier to live in Melbourne. Things are generally more affordable. It's easier to get around. Because again, you're right. It's very overpriced now. Both Melbourne and Sydney are insanely overpriced. Still, Morris, you're right. As I was saying before, it has been shown there's no statistical significance to the Bermuda Triangle. There's no loss of flights or shipping that is any sort of significant statistical aberration. It's all sort of explained by weather and the frequency of travels and that sort of thing. Sport, Melbourne better than Brisbane. Brisbane's just a big country town, which is fine if that's what you want. If you want to live in a country town, Brisbane can be very good for you. Musical aviator, you're going to bring up simple things like facts, like the amount of tracking we have over flights show that none of them go missing over Bermuda. Yeah. Oh, Byron, you found the photo, the Bill Nye pulling a face. I mean, it's probably not hard to find. I mean, if I just go do a Google image search, just go Bill Nye Ken Ham debate. Yep, there are a whole bunch of variations of it. Ken Ham's looking and talking, and Bill Nye is just looking at him, and the look is, what the fuck is wrong with you? And it's just like, it seems to be taking all of Bill Nye's willpower to not snap and just scream at Ken Ham. What the fuck is wrong with you? Because it's seriously like, Ken Ham is so fucking stupid, says such stupid shit. Tendai, the Dragon's Triangle. Pray tell, what is the Dragon's Triangle? I mean, the Bermuda Triangle has been taken over. I mean, crop circles were big for a while. These days, of course, the real conspiracy theories are, jet fuel can't melt steel beams, and or the really extreme people who think there are lizard people at the core of the Earth. Well, that's another good one, Stella. Brian Cox and Malcolm Roberts. I'm going to see. No, what am I doing? Okay. Brian Cox, Malcolm Roberts. Let's see if there's a good picture on the image search here. Images. Where are we? From what I've seen, Brian Cox isn't looking at Roberts with as much contempt, but there is a bit of, you're a fucking idiot. You are a fucking idiot, mate. Is a little bit of a smile from Brian Cox. Oh, okay. The Dragon's Triangle is near Japan. So it's like the Bermuda Triangle, but Japanese, or a Pacific version. Okay. Taiwan, Japan, and China. Fair enough. Oh my God, you know what they do have in the Dragon's Triangle, like off Japan? And I've seen pictures of this. There's a type of giant squid, and it's so fucking big. Sometimes the fishing trawlers get one in their nets, and the squid is so fucking big it can sink the boat. And I don't mean like monster movie jumping up and rah. It's just it gets caught in the net, and it's so heavy it can actually sink the boat. It's like, wow, that's a bit of a misadventure. Haruhi, Jesse Ventura conspiracy theories are growing. Jesse Jesse Ventura is a fairly interesting person, just generally. Like, he is very interesting he can go from saying something really solid, sort of bedrock common sense, particularly when he got into politics, like when he was a state governor, because he basically just stood up and said, all the politicians are shitheads and are lying to you. And everyone went, woo, you should be a governor. But he can say really bedrock common sense stuff and flip straight into an incredibly unbalanced conspiracy theory. He's a very interesting person. That's right. Fury, he was in, was that Commando or Predator that he was in with Arnie, where he said, eat this jar, turn you into a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus. Endless. Brian Cox is an English astrophysicist, was also in a pop band in the 90s called D-Ream. They had one big hit when he was in the band called Things Can Only Get Better. So it's kind of funny if you see him now as a physicist and, big science explainer guy, and then go back and look at his pop band video clips from the 90s. Excellent. I'll tell you right, if they get one of these squid, basically their only choice is to cut the net, because there's been a couple cases of the boat being swamped by one of these giant squid and sinking. So, yeah, it's pretty full on. Still trying to lucid dream. Keep trying, man. You never know, you'll get there. Yes, look, there are a number of weird things. And look, I've often said, okay, I'm very not religious person. Like I find the idea of some supreme being, creator behind everything, I find the idea absolutely ridiculous. That's just me. And I think, you know, we'll eventually find out answers to most things through science. But I really see, I'm not blind to the wonder of the world. When you look at the amazing array of life on this planet, when you look at how far out some animals are, some insects are, some plants are, how intricate some flowers are, I do understand people looking at something that looks incredible and intricate and going, this can't be chance. This is the hand of God. I can understand it. They're wrong, but I can understand someone coming up with that. Tendo, you got to go. See you soon, buddy. Yeah, so it's like a lot of, I've seen this a lot of religious people spin this line about, oh, you know, if you don't believe in God, if you don't believe in miracles, you know, your life is so empty and soulless, and you don't see the beauty in creation. And go, no, I look around and see this is an amazing fucking world. I'm just not into saying God did it and stopping thinking at that point. Like, I don't even have a problem with people, and there are a lot of scientists who are religious. I don't have a problem with people who say pursuit of science is good, and it's revealing all the stuff that God laid out. Like, you know, some people even say, you know, the Big Bang and everything that rolled on was God's act, God's plan. The billions of years of evolution from from chemical reactions to single-celled organisms to us, you know, they say, yes, that's all real, but God put that all in motion. I don't have a problem with people saying that. I don't agree with them, but I don't have a problem with people saying that. That's why I don't associate with I don't associate myself with online atheists in particular, because you see all these people who, you know, they define themselves, they, you know, like their essence is, I'm an atheist, I'm a rationalist. So fucking many of them are complete assholes, and I just want nothing to do with them. I agree with you, Stella. There's beauty in understanding the nature of the universe rather than just going, it's there, it's magic. It's not magic. Everything will ultimately be explainable. We do not know the answers to everything now. I get disturbed by, again, some religious people who say, you can't answer everything, and therefore you offer nothing. It's like, no, we can't answer everything, so we keep looking. Hurry, you're a Thunderfoot fan. I know he's been around for ages. I've never really watched his videos, again, because he's part of that scene. I'm just not in a rush to be associated with it, I guess. So yeah, so I'm not in a position to pass judgment on Thunderfoot one way or the other, because I've never watched his videos and I've never been part of that scene. So Otaru Firefly, the Bible Reloaded is good. That sounds interesting. What's that? This Foxification is Thundercat. I'm under the impression that, like, a disturbing number of the militant atheists is very aggressively anti-feminist. I couldn't sort of swear to that because I don't watch their videos. Haru, same as the Amazing Atheist. I got the impression he is also fairly rabidly anti-feminist. But I'm not really in a position to judge either of them because I haven't watched their videos. So Byron, that is a beautifully poetic way to put it. We're made of the stuff of the universe and we're trying to understand it. The universe is trying to understand itself. There are whole philosophies built around that, literally, that our quest for self-knowledge is the universe's quest for self-knowledge, that it's a cyclical thing. That, you know, there are lots of mind-blowing thoughts out there. Hurry, you're going to talk about radical feminists. It's going to depend on your definition of radical feminist. See, what I would call a rad fem, and this has been since like the 80s when I was around, this is people who literally say all men are rapists, all heterosexual sex is rape. They deny sex workers having any agency. They refuse to accept that any woman would do sex work out of choice and enjoy it as a profession. And they refuse to listen to sex workers. And they also refuse to accommodate trans women. We get the term swerf and turf, sex worker excluding radfem and trans excluding radfem. Now, those people I don't have a lot of time for. I've just seen a lot of complete assholes on the internet just saying women asking for basic equality are radical feminists, which is complete horseshit. But, you know, it's down to what you had. Phone beeping. Why does it do this now? I don't want these notifications. Stop sending me notifications, stupid phone. Yeah, Patman, I have no time for swerfs and turfs. And I can admit to have, in the past, when I had no understanding of sex work or sex workers, I would easily have been convinced that it isn't possible for someone in sex work to not be exploited. But hey, that's before I knew any and before I'd ever talked to any. And I would make a point of not speaking on behalf of sex workers or trans people, rather let people speak for themselves. Haruhi, Anita. I was talking about Anita Sarkeesian. Again, I've not watched that many of Anita Sarkeesian's videos or read that much of stuff. I've watched some, which I quite enjoyed and thought were raising some good points. I know there's some where, again, I think it was talking about Grand Theft Auto, I'm not sure, but the language she used particularly upset some sex workers. The evidence I was seeing is that she, again, she doesn't seem to have consulted sex workers before talking about sex work. But I'm saying that secondhand because I didn't actually watch those particular videos. But A, nobody's perfect, and B, do I have a B? Stop with nobody's perfect. And if you're on the front lines of anything, shit can get a bit aggressive, basically. Tell the Kalgoorlie skimpies they're being exploited. You won't be getting any more drinks. Well, that's the thing. After having met a few people, I would definitely not be dictating anything to sex workers because there's a few people I know kick the shit out of me if I tried to. So yeah. Charlie, Anita shot down turfism right in Jermaine Greer's face. All right, she went back against Jermaine Greer. Good. Jermaine Greer, I think, is out of her depth these days. I mean, she broke a lot of ground back in the 70s, but I feel like she's sort of calcified a bit in some very old views. But Mofo saying, tell everyone to chill. That's usually good advice. It's often very good advice to tell people to chill. Let's trip back to. Hey, look, I got about 10 minutes left, and we hardly talked about Star Wars at all. I thought everyone would get worked up, but we, as normal, I want to do one thing. Okay. Okay. So the big one I wanted to talk about with The Last Jedi was, and you know, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, this is a big thing, but I think most people know. But I've warned you. I'm going to talk spoilers now, so it's your responsibility to not listen if you don't want to get. There's a critical moment where Admiral Holdo turns her command ship on a big Star Destroyer and does a close range light speed jump, which rips through the Star Destroyer. In fact, rips through multiple ships, and is a very devastating weapon. And of course, that's never happened in any other Star Wars movies. And people go, oh, why don't people just do that all the time? And I've thought about that, and none of the objections to Holdo pulling that move have thought it through properly, because it's all been thought through. Because, okay, first, you clearly have to be at quite close range to do it. You have to be quite close range and do your light speed jump for it to be the weapon. So, in any normal circumstance, a ship big enough to do the damage would be shot down by the other ship before it could do it. So if you do it from a long way away, you'll actually make the hyperspace jump and won't rip through the ship. To be close enough to do it, they'll shoot you down. So, but what she did, because she was keeping enough distance from the Star Destroyers that her shields were still effective. If she went any closer, like close enough to do this suicide mission, they'd shoot her down. But what had happened, all those escape pods have gone off, or the little transports have gone off, and they're the ones being targeted by the Star Destroyers and blown up. And they're ignoring the command ship because they know there's no one left on it. And so when it turns and starts, and they detect that it's spinning up its light speed jump, and Hux says, ignore it, she's trying to distract. Like, he doesn't want any of the firepower directed at that command ship, because all the firepower is directed at the transports that he's destroying. And he thinks Holdo's just trying to distract them while she does a jump, and he's going, no, ignore her, do it. But she turns all the way around and closes the range on them. And as soon as she pulls, you see it, as soon as she pulls that maneuver of drawing close to them, they all realize what's happening. They're like, fuck, she's coming straight at us. Ah, shit. And it's when Hux goes, all fire on that ship. And it's too late, because everyone has to realign the ship, and she's come into range and done it. It makes perfect logical sense. They say, why don't people do that all the time? Because you can't. Because for a big enough ship to do that light speed jump and cause damage, when it comes into range of its target, it would get shot down. It's too close range for its shields to be of any use. And the only reason Holdo could get away with it is because she wasn't a target at that point, and they never considered, oh, she's going to do a suicide run on us. The same thing, people go, oh, why did they just do that to the Death Star? Because they couldn't. Because the Death Star was, for a start, the Death Star was hugely bigger than those Star Destroyers, even though there was the one big flagship. The Death Star was hugely bigger, and it was heavily armed. Any big ships that came into range would have been destroyed. The weapons on the fucking Death Star can destroy a planet. They can destroy a command ship if it comes anywhere near it. So I just wanted to say that Holdo's move, while being super cool, and that whole bit where it's silent, is absolutely awesome. But it also makes complete logical sense that she could do it, and yet it isn't a move that people do all the time. And anyone who argues about it just hasn't thought it through. And yes, Haru, Death Star had shields. And still, yes, you can't fucking go and crash your command ships willy-nilly. You'll run out of them. But Holdo's move made perfect sense. There is a really long list of reasons why people don't do it all the time. And yeah, all the objections to it are dumb. And people, they only thought it through this far and then they refuse to think anymore. Blech. And it's it. That's an interesting music layout. I agree it was the best scene in the movie. It's interesting saying it reminds you of 9/11. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, and it makes perfect sense. And none of the objections to it make any sense at all. And people say dumb shit like, why would bombs fall in space? Dude, you wouldn't see, if that space is a vacuum, you wouldn't see, lasers aren't visible in a fucking vacuum. And you wouldn't see the explosions. They just go, and it's just like, for fuck's sake, whenever someone starts going, oh, but, and they want to go, oh, but that's not realistic. Go, dude, it's a fucking space opera about magic wizards with laser swords, and one of the heroes is a giant dog. And it's like, and you're saying that's not realistic. None of it's realistic. None of it is. But that was internally, logically consistent. Chapter Salt and Tattoo. What about fighters that go light speed? Fighters are too small. Fighters could do some small damage if they did but same deal. They could do some small damage, but it's a suicide thing. And you couldn't take down a Star Destroyer. A fighter's too small. Like that command ship's hundreds of times bigger than a fucking fighter. I am, like it's true, I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. Is your former, the bombs would be attracted to the mirror, or the bombs might be magnetic. The bombs might have a guidance system on them. There's a million reasons the bombs could work. And in fact, even George Lucas said it when people pointed out to him, you wouldn't see a laser in space. He said, well, we do open the movie by saying a galaxy far, far away. For all you know, that's not actually a vacuum. For all you know, there are different laws of physics in this galaxy far, far away. So yeah. We'll see you next time, Pat. Yeah. Stella, she didn't kill herself. No, Rose was awesome. She stopped Finn from killing herself. She was hurt, but she's not killed. They're the romantic interest. And there was that beautiful scene where Finn's fawning over her and Ray looks over and just goes, oh, Finn's more interested in her than he's in me now. Oh. So yeah, those two have bonded. No, she's not dead. She's not dead. She's absolutely not dead. Finn rescued her. Got her back to the good guys. It was, I have to admit, I am absolutely fascinated by what the next Saga movie will be. Because for reals, the entire Resistance fits on the Millennium Falcon now. There's like only about a dozen of them. And they've got to inspire, and that was the implication at the end of the movie with the kids, that the Resistance is going to inspire people to rise up against the First Order. But I'm really fascinated to see what they do with the next Saga movie, because J.J. Abrams is coming back as well. Stella, look, you can actually argue it's a dumbass move. Movies do just do stuff for the sake of the thing that they're trying to develop plot-wise. There's no getting around. Sometimes they just do stuff because they want stuff to happen. Chapter Sultan, you make a very fine point. Fans are like treating these new movies like the prequels, and these people who say they're fans, and I don't even believe most of them, and they move the goalposts to justify their anger. That sums them up. Locust Trooper, he gave up Star Wars after Han Solo died. You know how he got frozen in carbonite at the end of Empire Strikes Back? Apparently, that's because he didn't want to be in the movies anymore. He wasn't going to be in the third one. There was a huge negotiation to get him to be in Return of the Jedi. The whole thing about getting frozen in carbonite was so he could be written out. But they convinced him to come back. Yeah, and apparently he said, I'll only come back for these if you fucking kill me. I have to have a big death scene. Yeah, Biori, you never know where they'll go with movies. You know, as you say, Star Wars movie, it says war in the title, but yeah. Shelf will be thinking there should have been no sequels. Dude, that is all about money. There's no getting around it. People are, why did they make that sequel? Why have they done this remake? It's always about money. The answer to those questions is always to make money. And so when they see a chance to make a buck, they'll do a sequel, they'll do a spin-off, they'll do a reboot. It's just all about the money. Yeah, and I mean, they must be about to announce what the next non-saga movie will be too. These movies take a couple of years to make. So we've got the Solo movie about to come out. Sometime in the next year, they'll tell us the title of the next saga movie. I assume it'll come out like the end of next year. And then another non-saga movie, which I don't think they've announced yet. But yes. Yori, I really love the Star Wars games. Dark Forces, like the first big ones. But the X-Wing and TIE Fighter games, I thought were really good. And Battlefront on the PS2, I really enjoy. Someone tell me, has EA unfucked the new Star Wars Battlefront yet, or is it still shit? Like apparently they had geared it that you could only get anywhere if you paid a bunch of extra stuff. Yeah. I held off getting Battlefront because so many people said that EA had fucked it. Oh, nice one, shell format. Single player game. You mean a solo adventure? I mean, Foxification is still full of DLC. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'll get it. I really liked Battlefront on the PS2. I really enjoyed that. But yeah, I don't know. Mofo sign Star Wars is, yeah, it's doomed to be ground into the dust. Disney will keep milking it as long as they can. They will keep making movies as long as they're making money. Locust Trooper, was Darth Vader my favorite? Probably. I mean, I have to admit that final scene in Rogue One, and Rogue One was a great movie. I loved Rogue One. But that final scene in Rogue One where the rebels are trying to escape and there's that dark corridor and you hear the breathing and then the lightsabers just and then Vader just fucks shit up. And that for me then makes the opening of the original Star Wars, A New Hope, make more sense. One thing I never understood, the big Star Destroyer swallows up the little ship, but then all the soldiers on it sort of have this big gun battle trying to hold them off. And it's like, why the fuck did they do that? Like, you're obviously outnumbered 100 to 1. Why don't you just surrender? Because if you start a fight, you're going to die. But if you get that bit before, when it's really clear Vader's going to fucking kill everyone, and they're also under instruction, the princess has vital plans. We have to get them away. You have to hold them off as much as possible. It's the only way the rebellion will survive. Then that makes sense, because that never really made sense to me. But Rogue One made it make sense, really. All right, I'm going to go, you wonderful fine people. One fun thing I saw recently. If you want to find out about how bad the original Star Wars could have been, there's a video on YouTube called How Star Wars Was Saved in the Edit. It's not that long, but it's a fascinating look at how important editing is. And if you're a bit of a film nerd, it's really worth seeing. Stella, I agree. CGI Leia was awful. CGI Tarkin was awful. Although I just rewatched Rogue One just last week, and each time I watch it, the Tarkin CGI gets less awful, but the Leia CGI is just shit. Like, I think they should have just recast both of them, but they just wanted to do the technology. So anyway, that's enough raving. Thank you everyone for joining. Wonderful company as always. Hope to see you again soon. I'll see if I find a suitable topic to do a Wanker Fat Witty Wednesday video tomorrow. And I'll see if we can do another live stream on Thursday. And if not, then it will be sometime soon. So you all look after yourselves. You're all awesome people. I've enjoyed having you here, and I hope to have you here again soon. But bye for now. In theory.